Welcome back to Bombastic Nation, a ting. Back with some more vibes for all you. I'm Mr. Giant, yes I. And this is another Geography Now, and it's Geography Now, Nigeria. Yes, my people, a ting, you know what I mean? A giant of Africa, I think they call this one sometimes, you know? But somebody suggested it, so let's see what Nigeria have to offer. I'm slowly going through the African countries, if you haven't noticed, a ting, you know. And I want to thank everybody for all the comments and the suggestions and stuff. Just keep them coming. And besides history, give me some more cultural things, you know. And as long as I could put it up without, getting in trouble for copyright claims and stuff like that, I-Man gonna react because I-Man wanna learn as much as he can and think about the world that he live in today, because it's fast changing, you know what I'm saying, and thing. So I-Man ain't gonna keep you all too long. Let's YouTube and simmer.
We have reached the powerhouse of Africa,
Yeah.
where Africans from all over migrate to make something of themselves. Ethiopia might be the wise monk master that all Africans kind of respect, but Nigeria is kind of like the big guy, the kingpin, the final boss at the end of the game. But you don't have to fight the boss, you just have to make copacetic trade deals and learn some Afrobeat and you're good. It's time to learn geography now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbs. Most people on Earth
Barbs in
have
another place.
the country Nigeria in the back of their heads with little or no knowledge on where or what exactly it is. Well, you probably should, considering that it's the most populous country in all of Africa with like the most money. I talked to a lot of you guys, the Nigerian geography peeps, for help on this episode. Obviously, we can't cover it all, but today we'll try to scratch the surface of this behemoth of a nation.
Let's scratch, Bobs. Let's scratch.
Now, if you look at Nigeria on the map, it kind of has a sweet location. It's like the link between West and Central Africa, where all the business happens. Oh, and totally unrelated, there's a town called Porno. First of all, it's located in West Africa, bordered by 4 other countries, with the Gulf of Guinea in the Atlantic Ocean just off their southern coast. The country is divided into 36 states and 1 federal capital territory for the capital, Abuja. Here you can also find the second busiest airport, Nnamdi Azikiwe International. Nonetheless, the absolute largest city, not only in Nigeria, but all of Africa, with a greater metropolitan population around 21 million, is Lagos, the former capital, located in the south along the coast, built on a lagoon. Here, the largest and busiest airport most people fly into, Murtala Muhammad International Airport, can be found just on the northwest side of the city. Otherwise, the second largest city is Kano, all the way up north, in a state that shares the same name as the city, Nibadu, which is part of the Oyo state, just a short distance from Lagos. The country is also the hub and endpoints to the numerous trans-African roadways that cross the entire continent, such as the West African Coastal Highway that is set to complete in Liberia, the Lagos-Mombasa Highway that is still being built to cross over to Kenya, then the Trans-Saharan Highway, which is set to connect to Algeria in the Mediterranean. Apart from that, they also have a network of railways. However, due to decline and neglect, the only line that operates regularly is the Lagos-Kano line. Finally, like many other African nations, the coast doesn't really have too many natural harbors, as the land is serrated with choppy river estuaries that are hard to build on. Nonetheless, Lagos got really lucky with the lagoon, which is why they have the largest and busiest shipping port in West Africa, the Lagos Ports Authority, which is not only an important point of trade for Nigeria, but also their landlocked neighbors up north like Chad and Niger that depend on business access to the ocean. All the states of Nigeria were pretty much formed out of 3 original region states after independence, but then over time it kind of went like this.
Why do I have to get clumped in together in the same state with this tribe? We have nothing in common.
My tribe has a specific historical claim to this allotted region. Can we, have it for ourselves?
Why does Lagos get to be the capital? We need to build a new one in the center of the country. I want to be my own country!
Africa 101, you know the deal. We've discussed this many times. And to explain a little further, Ken, why not just take it? Go ahead.
All right, cool. The country is a middle income, mixed economy. Okay, thanks, Mom. The country is a middle income, mixed economy, emerging market nation. On top of that, although the country is a federal presidential republic, it's important to note that they do have many constituent tribal kingdoms, chiefdoms, and emir states. They are ruled by traditional monarchs that don't actually hold government power, but are rather cultural figureheads with high influence. You can see many of the palaces of the monarchs either from the past or currently still in use today all over the country. These palaces are very important as they give you a glimpse into the past. They tell a story about how a country operated with independent
See, there goes the colors again.
Okay. And speaking of cool places in Nigeria, some notable spots you guys, Nigerian geography, suggested we mention include places like these famous rocks, the Three Elders statue, the National Theater and Museum, the Badagry Slave Museum, Benin City National Museum, the National War Museum, Millennium Park. There's so many theme and amusement parks. For some reason, there's a house with an airplane on it, a New Africa Shrine, the Nikkei Art Gallery, the Alok Iko monoliths, and finally, Osun Osopo Sacred Grove. It's actually a UNESCO heritage site. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're just getting started because there's a little secret resource Nigeria has that we will discuss in... Now, when you look at countries with high populations, they all kind of have something in common when it comes to their land. Really good water sources that can irrigate lots of their land. And Nigeria kind of checks off on that option. But there's a little something extra. First of all, the country is generally flatter all around with small rolling hills until you get to the central and east parts. In the center, you find the Jos Plateau with a wide array of eroded rocky boulder hills. Then you go to the northeast with the dry arid highlands known as the Biu Plateau. Then you go to the border with Cameroon and find the Mandara mountain chain that extends into the Mambila Plateau. Here you can find the highest peak just by the border with Cameroon, Chapal Wadi. The longest river is the Niger River that flows southward, emptying into the Gulf of Guinea, creating one of the largest delta networks in the world. This river estuary is sometimes called the oil rivers. Now, this is one of the most important regions of Nigeria as it holds much of their economic wealth through the petroleum industry. Pay attention to this area. The river is blocked up in the north, creating the largest body of water completely within Nigeria, the Kainji Reservoir, created by the Kainji Dam. However, the largest shared body of water would be Lake Chad in the east, split amongst 4 nations, and unfortunately, it has been drying up over the past half century. It's important to note, though, that the Niger River meets a fork with the second longest river, the Benue, in the east. This tributary essentially splits the nation into 3 parts, which has been one of the biggest factors in influencing the people groups of Nigeria. We'll talk more about this later, though. The country has 4 main climate zones: the wet monsoon region along the end of the Niger River Delta, the largest chunk being a tropical forest and savanna region up north, and then you get the warm semi-arid dry regions, and finally the furthest northeast corner has a warm desert climate. This is the driest and hottest area of Nigeria. So taking all of that into account, you can see how the land of Nigeria is not only diverse, but the list of resources that come with it are quite broad as well.
Yeah.
And with that being said, here's Noah to explain.
All right. Now, as mentioned, Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, surpassing the $1 trillion GDP purchasing power parity mark. It is
Wow.
a 3G country, or one of the 11 growth potential economies that the world is watching. However, it is important to note that the country still has a lot of confusing disparities that conflict with each other. It's kind of like this.
Hey, I mean, we only have about a 15% debt to GDP ratio, which is not bad considering our size. You know, we're generating more on average than we spend.
Yeah, but there's large gaps in wealth distribution. The average GDP per capita hovers around 6,000 a year or so, and somewhere over a third of the country falls within the poverty line.
Wow.
For the African continent as a whole, 6,000 years is not too bad, okay? We are the largest petroleum and crude oil provider in Africa, 12th in the world. We've diversified our revenue sources and eliminated our bilateral debt under the Paris Club.
Yeah, but our agriculture sector has not caught up with the domestic demand and population growth. We have too much of a fixed dependence on the petroleum and energy sector.
Time to
And
switch
it's
it up.
What, 78% of our exports? Which, by the way, has polluted our river systems and caused insurrection groups in the South. Way to go with handling that.
Will you just shut up and be happy we're making more money?
Will you just, shut up and manage the money better?
Look at Nigeria. They really are blossoming into a world market player, aren't they? About a third of the population works in agriculture, which makes up about 18% of their GDP. They rank 6th worldwide and 1st in all of Africa in terms of farm output. They are the world's largest producer of yams, cassavas, and taro. Nigeria is incredibly diverse in flora.
Cassavas,
Having
yum.
4,700 species of plants, 940 species of bird, and 290 mammal species. Nigeria also claims to be the nation with the largest variety of butterfly species on Earth. And to finish off this segment like we always do, food. Each people group and region has its specialty. One thing they all usually have in common, though, is fufu. You can find this with many meals served, such as gari, isue, gala sausage rolls, suya, fried plantain, meat pies, puff puff. These soups, and every Nigerian will say jollof rice originated here, and it is the best.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I would love to do a series on food from different countries. You know what I mean? I tried looking it up on YouTube to see if I find anything I could react to, but a lot of them comes with copyright vibes, so you know I can't really do it. But I mean, I'm a food connoisseur, man. I like to try different food, even though I'm a picky eater, believe it or not. But to try something once, I will try anything once, and I'm telling you, man, that stuff look good. Certain meats I ain't gonna eat at all, period. But I'll try anything within within reason.
Yeah, you would say that Nigeria. Wait for my episode.
That's a story for another time. But now we gotta move on and talk about.
Why, thank you, Noah. Alright, when it comes to Nigeria, there isn't a single story, but more like hundreds of mini chapters all woven together like Frankenstein in a weird epic novel that makes no sense. First of all, as of 2019, the country has just passed 200 million and is the 7th most populous country in the world, and about 1 in 6 Africans is Nigerian. The country has over 250
Wow.
groups. However, the 3 largest groups are the Hausa Fulani at about 30%, the Yoruba at about 21%, Igbo at around 19%, and about 25% are made up of various other ethnic groups, most notably ones like the Tiv, Ijaw, Kanuri, Ibibio, Igala, and so on. Whereas about 5% are made up of non-Nigerian Africans and non-Africans. They use the Nigerian Naira as their currency. They use the types D and G.
Even the money is colorful. I know the money is colorful in Grenada
We have a
too.
lot to cover, and it only gets more complicated. First off, language. As a former British colony, English became official. In fact, they are the 3rd largest English-speaking nation on Earth after the USA and India. However, Nigerian Pidgin English is more commonly spoken as a lingua franca. Here are some of you guys, the Nigerian geographers, explaining.
Like if someone to ask you how you doing, to tell you how far,
You the make sona, you're looking beautiful.
dash me. Dash means like give me something or gift me something.
Dash me that.
To you. How are you feeling?
No wahala. No wahala means no problem.
At the chop food, come chop.
Thank you, guys. Keep in mind, though, over 500 languages and dialects are spoken in Nigeria, one of which was even written in pictograph characters called Nsibidi. The general rule is, if you can't speak English, you can use Yoruba in the southwest, Igbo in the southeast, and Hausa in the north. Faith-wise, the country is almost equally divided amongst Christians and Muslims, with about 1% more Christians. Otherwise, traditional indigenous beliefs are the 3rd most common, which brings us to tribalism. Now, in Nigeria, the issue is you kind of have to find a way to balance power and politics between the tribes and religion. If too many Christian leaders come to power, the Muslims get a little antsy, and vice versa with Muslims and Christians. Or sometimes, if a certain tribe, regardless of religion, comes to power that another tribe is not too fond of, even if they share the same religion, things can get a little complicated. This is the beauty and curse of Nigeria.
yeah.
If one slip up and show even the slightest
Just
bit of
can't get
hereditary
along.
citizenship, everyone will get mad. And it kind of happened quite a bit in their history. Now, we don't have time to talk about every single one of the many ethno-linguistic people groups of Nigeria, but we can at least try our best to highlight the main 3. In a nutshell, the Yorubas are mostly found in the southwestern regions and the largest city, Lagos. Yorubas are descendants of the Oyo Empire. Today, they are kind of like the entertaining, flashy city folk, very westernized, but never compromising their African roots. They're known for their bright colors, loud, boisterous personalities,
Colors,
and
people.
parties or Owambe. And today, they, along with the Igbo, make up the largest demographic of Nigerians abroad. Supposedly, they also claim to have the highest rate of twin births in the world. There's even a twin capital of the world in this town. Igbos are mostly found in the southeast, and they live mostly along the Niger River and Delta. They are descendants of the kingdom of Nri. Mathematics was heavily taught. They had their own banking, loaning, and calendar system, and some social taboos in certain tribes, like facial scarification called Ichi. Today, they are known for being the industrious, well-educated, clean freaks that are really good at making money and doing business. They are predominantly Christian. However, interestingly enough, some claim that they are descendants of one of the lost tribes of Israel from Jacob's son Gad. So today, you can even see Igbo
Oh,
worshiping in
interesting.
synagogues. And finally, the Hausa people. They are the largest group mostly found in the north. This is the largest predominantly Muslim group in Nigeria. Their history goes way back. Many of them are farmers or herdsmen. They live in the drier, more arid regions of the country. They also have a very strong equestrian culture with horse races. Daura has a huge horse festival with colorful processions. And I know there are so many other people groups that we could discuss about, but already this video is getting pretty long, so let's just hop over to some culture stuff with Hannah. Where's Hannah? I have to do everything myself.
Okay, before Hannah talk, there's a YouTuber, Wada Maya, I think is his name. God, I think that's the name of the channel too. But he goes, he's an African, he's from Ghana, and he goes from African country to African country, and his motto is Africa to the world. Wada Maya is what he's called. And I watch him a lot, you know what I mean, because he travels to the different African countries, like I said. And he also doesn't bring up the greatness of Africa. What he's showing is people coming back from Western countries and building stuff in Africa. A lot of migration from America, blacks going back there and building stuff in wherever in Africa, not just in Ghana, like everywhere. And he just goes around and talks to small business people. And like, where was he? He was in Somalia a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was like 3 weeks to go to a month. And he went and he checked out the night life there, and one of the Somalians was saying that it's safer in the night to be out and about, you know what I mean? And everybody's starting little businesses and stuff in that area. So, you know, I would check him out, you know, if you want to learn more about Africa. He goes to a lot of in-depth stuff. He was a student in China. That's where he went to university, I do believe, and he went back home and he's doing his thing there, you know, traveling, bringing Africa to the world. Check out his channel. Let's keep going. I just wanted to say that there. So, you know, if you're interested in learning about Africa, you know, from like the people, that's a good channel to check out.
Culture stuff with Hannah. Where's Hannah? I have to do everything myself. If there's one thing
If there's one thing that he specializes in, it would be
That was
festivals.
cool.
Some of the big ones include the Argungu Fishing Festival, Ayo Masquerade Festival, Igbos have a huge Yam Festival, and so on. Weddings are taken very seriously.
That's I've
It's
heard.
customary to spray the bride and groom with money, and everyone dances. Nigeria is also home to Nollywood, Africa's largest film market and third most valuable market in the world behind Hollywood and Bollywood, with over 2,000 film companies producing about 50 to 200 movies a week. And
Wow.
finally, the one thing that unites them all, no matter what
Soccer.
region, tribe, or religion you are, is soccer.
Yeah.
Nigerians treat the sport with utmost pride and honor. The National Football Federation, team known as the Super Eagles, has won 3 African Cups, and they often participate in the World Cup and once ranked 5th in the world by FIFA in 1994. Okay, I'm going back. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah. Now, before we move on, many of you Nigerian geographers did also ask that I don't sugarcoat this episode and that I do bring awareness to some of the controversies that the country faces. As many of us already know, the jihadist terrorist organization
Boko Haram
was founded in Nigeria in the north and has been a constant issue that the nation has been dealing with. Many of you also wanted me to mention the ridiculous government scandals with embezzlement of funds. The governor of Kano was caught on camera taking a bribe, but it was dismissed. And one lady claimed that over $100,000 went missing because a snake ate it. And finally, no shocker, we all know about those infamous Nigerian Prince 419 scams. Nigerians are sick and tired of hearing about it. They've heard all the jokes. You know the deal.
Oh, what's this? Email with slight spelling and grammatical errors?
Hello, good sir or madam. I am a totally real rich person from England.
I'm a real sir, madam.
I want to give you $4 million because I am dying, and it is my final wish that a good person like you should receive my inheritance.
I just made $4 million.
However, all my money is in a box guarded by my good friend in West Africa.
That totally makes sense to me. It's so not suspicious.
Therefore, all I ask is that you pay the shipping fee of $500 to send this box over to you.
Pay $500 and make $4 million? It's so good and it's true.
Sincerely, a totally real rich British person.
Wait, first they said England, and now they say they are from British. Something doesn't make sense.
Who needs the dark web when you have Craigslist? Otherwise, we gotta move on. History, in the quickest way I can summarize it, Nok culture, Oyo Kingdom. Meanwhile, the empires of Benin and Edo people are going on. Bam, Hausa Kingdom.
Woo,
Meanwhile,
beautiful house.
Nri is going on. Igala and Jukun kingdoms just up north. Some intertribal fighting. Europeans make first contact. Slave trade. Sokoto Caliphate took over in the north. British take over Lagos. Later, southern Nigeria. Then they take over the Sokoto Caliphate. Indirect rule to native rulers. 1960 independence. Oil is discovered. Civil war. Assassination of this dude. That led to a series of coups and counter coups. Oil crisis with insurgent groups in the 2000s. New Hausa president voted in. They surpassed 200 million people. And here we are today. I asked you guys, the Nigerian geography peeps, to give a list of some of the most notable people from Nigeria. And here are some of the people you mentioned. Queen Amina, Benjamin Nnamdi Azikiwe. There's a ton of musicians like these people. However, one of the most notable ones is probably Fela Kuti. His mom was actually a chief and arguably even more famous than him. A ton of soccer players and pretty much anybody on the national team, the Super Eagles. A ton of basketball and U.S. football players. Emmanuel Ifeajun, Anthony Joshua. So many actors like these people. I'm sure you've probably heard of many of them. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Ameo Adadavo, Margaret Ekpo, Agbani Darego, Sir Lois Odumegu, Aiko Dangote, and there's a ton of famous writers like these people. However, the most famous one is probably this guy, Professor Wole Soyinka. Whew, yeah, lots of famous Nigerians.
Yeah, wow.
Speaking of all over, let's discuss the way they interact with the rest of the world, shall we?
And I tell you what's ironic. I just came back from the store and I walked past a Nigerian buddy of mine standing out here by the bus station. He went to the university up the street there around the same time I did. Mohammed is his name. He was standing right out there. And here I am, come back doing the Geography Now Nigeria episode. But if it's one thing, man, they come up here, they all go to university, generally speaking, especially if they come to the small area here, it's because of the university. And I have another friend, Adamu is his name. He went back home and he's doing his thing back there. And, you know, they're everywhere. And most of them are well educated too.
As a major key figure not only in Africa but the world, Nigeria has a lot of current and future ambition when it comes to global interaction. First of all, the UK and US have the largest Nigerian populations outside of the African continent. Obviously, being an Anglophone nation helps. Today, they are part of the Commonwealth of Nations, they have huge business deals, and the US works alongside Nigeria in counter-terrorism efforts in their own country, as well as Africa as a whole. In Asia, China and India are vying for more partnerships. India is their largest export partner. About 20% of all of India's crude oil comes from Nigeria. However, China is the largest import partner. In 2006, former President Hu Jintao visited Nigeria and signed a memorandum of understanding to establish strategic partnership deals, and they have supported Nigeria's bid for a seat in the UN Security Council. As a founding member of the African Union, they've always been an important link to the mainstream African geopolitical structure. They generally get along with all their West African neighbors. It probably depends on who you ask. On the borders, Benin and Cameroon have the most Nigerians living outside of Nigeria. For Benin, many of them are Yoruba, and much of Benin's economy depends on Nigeria as well. In Cameroon, many of the eastern tribes like the Ibibio are found. However, there's a little bit of tension over oil rights in the Bakassi Peninsula back in the early 2000s. Nonetheless, most Nigerians I have talked to have said that in the end, as much as they love competing and mocking them, Ghana is probably the best friend with such a long love-hate relationship. Not only do they share much historically in trade and colonial ties, both being under the British, they are also both English-speaking and have lavish ancient kingdoms and traditions. They also love to try and outdo each other in everything. Sports, money, prestige. It's a total reputation bluff. Nonetheless, on a personal level though, when a Ghanaian and Nigerian meet each other, there's just this immediate click that nobody can quite describe. They love each other. They get each other. And hands down, they will always be there for each other in the end. In conclusion, you cannot talk about Africa without mentioning Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's played such a key role in molding much of the entire continent. It's big, it's loud, it's crazy, it's colorful, it's musical, it's hardworking, it's got quite a story. Stay tuned! Norway is coming up next.
Yes, Nigeria. You know what I mean? And like I said, there's a whole lot of Nigerians that went to the university that I went to there. So, massive economy. You don't see it outside of Africa very much, you know what I mean? The growing economies, you know, the educated people, you know what I mean? I guess you could say that the poverty overwhelms the richest, you know, and people like to do negative stuff, so they're gonna show the negative like all the time. This is what's going on in Nigeria. The Nigerian scam artists, you know, all you hear is the negative stuff, you know. But check out that Watermeyer YouTube channel, and yeah, you're gonna see the good part and the bad part about Africa. You know, understand what I say? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with me, man. This was kind of cool. I like learning about Africa. You know, in school back home, we learned a lot about Africa, but it's always nice to know how they're doing now, because that was some years ago, you know, because I'm an old man. But anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you respect people's differences. Take care of each other. Cool runnings.